main question that we always like to ask everyone that comes on the podcast.
Currently, I love the momentum that downtown St. Charles has.
St. Charles just seems to be getting better and better.
It's a great place to raise a family.
The feeling of the downtown area is really beautiful. It's always been so fun.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the What's Up Downtown podcast. I'm Nate Wendt.
And I'm Jenna Sawicki.
And we are here for another podcast episode. It's going to be great, right, Jenna?
I'm very excited.
Woo!
It's Friday, so
It's Friday.
And we're recording in the podcast room.
I think we've recorded like the past 3 on Fridays.
Oh, yes, we have. We were in here last Friday, too.
So if anyone thinks that we dress casual all the time, it's not. We just dress casual on Fridays.
And if everyone thinks that I'm wearing the same sweater, I actually have worn the same sweater in the last 4 podcasts that have been recorded. It's fine. I washed them.
So we have Zach here from the Fox Valley Food for Health here to talk about the amazing organization that they have over there. So before we start getting into the nitty-gritty stuff, let's talk about some simple stuff. How you doing today?
I'm doing good. It's Friday, so
Woo!
you can't complain.
The
Can't
sun is
complain.
out.
Sun's out.
Yep.
Snow's melting, which I'm sure we'll just get dumped on again soon. But
Oh, no.
For now, we're all good.
for now it's
What
good.
did the,
For today, it's good.
Wasn't it just Groundhog's Day? Didn't he say we're going to have an early spring?
I didn't remember seeing the
think
results for
he
that.
did.
I think he
But
did.
they're
What is it?
groundhogs, so.
Poxitonic Phil something? I don't know.
I have
There's
no clue.
there's like 10 out there now.
Are there?
There's
That's just
him,
exciting.
who's the main guy, of course.
Yes.
But then they have like 5 offshoots of him.
Yeah,
think,
well, I like
now.
the commercial from the
So.
Super Bowl that had Bill Murray from Groundhog's Day. Was
Yeah.
the Jeep commercial?
That one was awesome.
Yeah, it was
That
cool.
was
pretty
awesome.
good. So,
Yeah.
so Zach, tell us some things about yourself, where you're from, and do you live in St. Charles?
Yeah, I do live in St. Charles. I was born and raised Chicago suburbs.
Okay.
Have pretty much been in Illinois my whole life. Went to Illinois State University.
Go
Been
Birds.
bounced around from the north suburbs to the south suburbs to the west, and settled here probably 7 years ago now.
Okay.
With my wife. My wife was teaching in Harvard, and I was commuting to the city at that point. And this
Oof.
was our
Like teaching
middle
up in
ground.
Harvard, Illinois,
Yeah,
or at Harvard?
Harvard.
Okay.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
She's a PE middle school teacher.
Okay.
So, yeah, Harvard University.
Yes.
Got
So this was kind of our middle ground, and, we're looking close to the train and ended up falling in love in St. Charles. It pretty much had everything we wanted. I got really tired of my commute and started talking about settling down and bought a house here, built a house here. Now she actually works at Thompson
Okay.
Middle School right down the street, and
Yeah.
so now we're both local, supporting our own communities, and really settled here and just love it. So
Yeah.
Awesome.
Good.
Okay, so what are your favorite things to do in St. Charles, and if any in downtown specifically, or just whatever you like about St. Charles?
yeah, our first house was actually on 2nd Street,
Oh,
South
awesome.
2nd Street. So we love downtown St. Charles. It was pretty much what made us want to live here
Yeah.
and establish here. It has everything. We're very outdoors people. We're runners. We like to be on the river.
Yeah.
Everything from there. My wife's family is a big fishing family, so the Fox River is awesome for that. So there's so many things downtown that just like checked all of our boxes
Yeah.
immediately. And I mean, there's so much to do with the festivals. We used to walk to the concerts in the park.
Yep.
So just really having that family environment, and then be also, grab an adult beverage is always nice as well, and
Yes.
enjoy the good food that's in St. Charles, and to say, that's our community that's 5 minutes out of our door.
Yes.
So we love everything about St.
That's
Charles.
true.
and-
We've had a
yeah.
meeting before at one of our favorite adult beverage places, Pollyanna. So
Yes.
it's it's definitely, we're very lucky to have so many
Yeah.
awesome places to go to.
Yeah. So awesome. Well, let's start getting into talking about Fox Valley Food for Health.
Absolutely.
So where are you guys located? We'll start there.
Yeah, so we're currently based out of the King County Fairgrounds,
Yep.
which is, right off Randall Road. And we rent that commercial kitchen Monday, Tuesday, and half of Wednesday.
Okay.
So, well, I guess now it's all day Wednesday. We just expanded, but that's only for special group days on Wednesdays. But our main program is Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday.
Okay.
And then our service area is 30 minutes from that location. So we do serve all of the Fox Valley, pretty much all the way up to 90 into Aurora, and then west and east of here as well.
Okay. Perfect. And tell us a little bit about Fox Valley Food for Health.
Yeah.
If someone doesn't know about it, what's kind of like your guys'
Absolutely.
main spiel?
Yeah, here's the spiel. All
Get
right.
ready.
So
Get
our
ready.
mission
Get ready.
is to promote a nutrition-focused community through teen education and serving those struggling with the health crisis.
Okay.
You got it?
Yes.
Yeah.
All right.
Repeat it
So you
now,
know
go.
everything that we do.
Oh, repeat it. Uh-oh.
Not ready. He's not ready.
So what that means is that we provide healthy organic meals to families who are struggling with cancer, and all of those meals are prepped and prepared by adult volunteers and then cooked by teen chefs. So it's really a dual mission where we're serving families in need. You know, we say a health crisis, so it's primarily cancer diagnosis, but we accept other people who have diagnosis or are going through treatment for whatever health issue they're dealing with. And then we teach teens the culinary arts, teach them about wellness, teach them about nutrition and why it's important to live this way to prevent these diseases in the future. You know, obviously cancer is something you might not be able to prevent, but we know that eating healthy and eating local and eating organics can really boost your immune system and really help
Right.
you in that time of need. So it's really instilling those morals into the teenagers that come into our program, teaching them how to cook. Unfortunately, you know, that's not a prevalent thing nowadays with a lot of teenagers. They don't get that education as much in schools. And if they do, you know, they have to kind of do their electives. You know, a lot of kids are
Right.
very focused on finals and sports and all these extracurriculars. So this is a
Yeah.
way they can kind of do
Keeping up.
something a little different. And they can learn and be trained by executive chefs, people who have had culinary experience and really get that hands-on experience too.
Yeah, absolutely.
I actually got a chance to go in and see you recently
Mhm.
and your location, and it was like I was blown away by, first of all, the amount of activity that was going on.
Oh, yeah.
And like all the kids they had their phones down, they were totally in the moment, they were listening, they were cutting and chopping and putting and prepping all the food together, and it was like really like amazing to see, like such a awesome organization. Everything you have going on over there is like it's a big full circle. Like
Yeah.
you're teaching, but you're also
Thank you.
benefiting a lot of things. It's really cool to
Yeah,
see.
well, thank you.
So when you did so you talked about the mission, which you did.
Mhm.
You spewed beautifully to us.
Thank you.
Did the mission play into your goals and your decision to become the executive director?
Yeah, absolutely. When I was working downtown, you know, like I mentioned, we were talking about settling in, having a family,
Right.
and it was okay. What do I really want to do? And you know, I was working for a big corporate nonprofit, very member-driven nonprofit downtown, and kind of was away from my background, which is health education.
Mhm.
I studied community health education, worked at the Robert Crown Center for Health Education in Hinsdale, had been involved in lots of different health
Yeah.
organizations. So when I made the decision that I wanted to look for something more local, I immediately said, I hope and I want it to be in the health realm.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know what it was. I was kind of looking for nonprofit health work. And when I found this job and actually got recruited for it, I was just blown away. One, I was like, how have I never heard of this? This
Yeah.
checks all of my boxes,
Right.
the health and wellness and
You
nutrition.
manifested it,
Um,
man. That's
You know, I
awesome.
come from a big Italian, Polish family, so cooking is in my blood. And I'm like, how did I not know this? A cooking organization, so amazing, and teaching kids how to cook,
Right.
bringing people together. And yeah, I think when I learned about it, it's always been a dream of mine to be an executive director of a health-focused organization within my community. It kind of hit it all, and when I found out what they do and how amazing and supportive they are to our entire population,
Yes.
I immediately knew it was the right place to be and what I really wanted
It's
to
like
do.
the stars just aligning perfect.
Pretty
yeah, I
much.
mean, yeah, it's like, oh, these are all my check boxes. Were you almost like, this might be too good to be true?
Yeah, absolutely, I did. So a funny story about that. I got when I got recruited, I texted my wife. I said, "Hey, so I got a message from." Was Chris Preeve.
Yes, we
our
love
good
Chris.
friend Chris.
Our good friend Chris.
Oh, we of the world, Chris. And I got this message, and it says it's for this nonprofit called like Food for Health, and I don't know. I think it's fake, but I'm gonna go for it anyway. And she was like, "Yeah, sounds good." Like I had no idea that this was there, and it was just too perfect, and it checked everything, and it was just so amazing when it kind of came through. So
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah.
So
thanks, Chris.
thank you, Chris. I was just gonna say, I think we all owe her our jobs.
Yes, I
Yeah.
think that's a fair statement.
Thanks, Chris. Okay, so can you take us kind of through like what it's like being the executive director of the organization? Maybe like
Yeah.
a day in the life of is. I mean, I was there on one day when you
Yeah.
were actually in house. And that was crazy. I mean, the
Yeah.
energy, but I know there's a lot more to it than just that.
Yeah. I mean, executive director life is crazy.
ED life, yeah.
ED life is crazy, and I know that there's a lot of EDs around here that I talk to a lot that agree. And the fun thing and the challenging thing about being an ED is that it's different every single day. I mean, this morning I was pretty much at Cava Diem, just right here,
Mm-hmm.
from like 8 in the morning till now. Besides the one time I went home for lunch because I was like, I eat here too much. I have to I have to cook my own
You
food.
can only have so much avocado toast. So.
Yeah, right? But it is delicious.
Yes.
But yeah, and I met with a volunteer who wanted to be a graphic designer, and I met with one of my staff person. I had a phone call with somebody about potentially a different kitchen opportunity. Had a post about how we just got a steamer grant from the Community Foundation of Fox River Valley. And then I have emails about budgeting stuff and financials
the
and all
roller
that kind of
coaster
stuff. Of all that, which is fun and cool, that it keeps you on your toes so much, and then you can think that this is all the background stuff really to keep the lights on for the program as a whole.
Right.
So I think my favorite days though as an ED is definitely being in the kitchen.
Yeah.
I mean, as you know, it's just so cool to see everyone come in, and I have an amazing team where when I came on, I didn't really have to do a lot in the kitchen. They had everything. It's such a smooth science. Our culinary team, our client care team all work so well together that I just get to sit back and watch, which is great, and be able to just see the amazing work that these volunteers are doing. We have 3 shifts a day. Morning prep shift that do a lot of soups and chopping, sometimes chopping 50 onions,
Holy
which
snack.
is a lot, which luckily we
Lots
have
of
these.
crying.
We have onion goggles actually that are a thing. They're actually really a thing. And the funny story about that, my first day when I was chopping with them, they didn't tell me it was there. So it was their little
You're
initiation,
oh,
here
my
you go.
first day is so great.
Yeah.
I love it.
But they do all the prep work, and then the mid shift comes in and package some stuff maybe that is already done if we were doing soups, or finishes what they were doing in the morning. We have teens come in from the special education program at Geneva High School or Mid-Valley, and they do sanitize and organize all of our Snapwares, which are the reusable containers, and then the teens come in from 3 to 6 and cook and prepare. And it's so amazing to see, new people coming in every shift and just being happy and excited to give their time to cook, and then the teens coming in who are so excited after a long day of school to now come in and prep and prepare, and like you said, put their cell phones away when they're present, and they are focused on, they know what to do, and they just want to be there to help their community.
Right.
It's really a beautiful thing.
Really
And that's my favorite day as an ED, is to see all of that and to kind of take a step back and say, all the number punching and everything you kind of do in the back end, really pays off when you get to see the product.
Yeah,
being
see it all
produced
come
and everything.
together.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So can you take us a little bit further back? Where did the need for the organization come from, originally?
Yeah, so we were founded 7 years ago now by Mary Fremgen and Susan Lee, and they actually met at Living Well Cancer Center.
Yeah.
And they were working in one of their culinary cares program, and they were teaching cancer patients there or people who are recovering from cancer how to cook, and they wanted to do something a little bit more. And we're actually based off a program in California called the Series Project, and they started about 10 to 12 years ago. I think 12 now, actually. I just jumped 2 years, sorry. But yeah. And they started this program, and they knew that this was a replicable model across the United States and even internationally. So they set up an affiliate program where they were going to train other organizations to do what they did. And obviously, things are very different here in the Midwest than they are in California. They have a beautiful organic garden that they run all year long, and they're like, why don't you do that? I'm like, well, have you looked outside? It's snow and it's squash and pumpkins in the fall.
Yeah, we were lucky enough to get some, I think it's the 4th day of sun this year, which is not good if you're trying to grow.
That hurts my heart. I don't want to hear that ever again.
Sorry.
No, that's all right. That's all right. Let's reflect on how we're just so cold all the time. But yeah, so we are based off of them, and they knew about that program and wanted to start it here and knew that could be a really value to our community, and our community specifically.
Yeah.
Our community is very unique in the Chicagoland area and has a great mix of the rural and then suburban, but then also has this close-knit community, which really helps our program strive. And when they wanted to do something more, it just fit perfect to that, and really instilling, the healthy mentality within our community and building our own kind of nutrition-focused community around this program. And, they took it to amazing levels. They started in a small kitchen in Roquette, which is right in Geneva, and they were serving, I think, 10 meals. Or 10 individuals.
Yeah.
Okay.
And this past week, we served 93 individuals. And to put
That's
that in
amazing.
perspective, each person, so that's 93, either people who are diagnosed and then all of their family, and they get 6 meals per week for 12 weeks free of charge. So we put up almost 600 meals in 2 days.
Wow.
So to see that growth in 6 to 7 years
It's
is
amazing.
unbelievable.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Oh, a frog in my throat.
So we talked. I mean, it's so incredible to see the growth that you guys have gone
Mhm.
through, and we know we saw a couple events. So can you give us a little insight into some of your events that we saw them on your website? Are there a couple things you want to give a shout out to?
Yeah, absolutely. So we put our fundraising plan together. Events are, one of our biggest drivers. Always trying to raise money. The more money we raise, the more people we can serve.
Yeah.
Right.
So we have an upcoming event on March 19th it's a partnership with Water Street Studios in Batavia. It's called our Activate the Alley, where they partnered up with 10 nonprofits, local nonprofits, with 10 local artists, and we got paired up with an artist who's going to do a custom mural for us. So based off our
awesome.
mission and everything that they did, they toured our kitchen, saw all the teens in the kitchen, and they're creating a mural for us. So it's an unveiling party.
I mean, there's just like unlimited things you could do with the
I know.
creativity. You
Yeah.
could do food. You could go with the kids. You could do so very cool.
Yeah,
That's gonna
it's
be
really
exciting.
cool. I got some snapshots of the sketches, so I'm really excited to see what
Nice.
it looks like.
Awesome. So what do you get to do
completed.
with the mural? Where is it going to be?
So we get to keep the mural. We can
Okay.
do what we want with it. We are debating on if we're going to auction it off or
Yeah.
if we're going to hang it in the kitchen and kind of have a present for people to see.
Uh-huh.
But we also get the digital prints of it too, so we
Yeah.
can use that in different ways.
Oh yeah, you could do promotional material, all sorts of different things.
So
Oh, cool.
it's so cool. So
Very
then the
cool.
mural unveiling event, it's going to be open to the public. It's a free event with a requested donation of $10 if you'd like to support our mission. We'll have food, music, and just a nice kind of happy hour
Yeah.
hangout cocktail party at Water Street, which is a really
Nice.
great organization in Batavia too.
That's
So
really,
that'll
yeah,
be
we
a lot
love
of
that.
fun.
We love Water Street.
Yeah.
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 Other events, we have a golf outing at Hughes Creek on
Okay.
May 29th, which will
One
be
of the
coming
end
up
months.
faster than we think.
We get
And
it.
then our big event is our Harvest Moon Dance, which is in November,
Mhm.
Okay.
which I believe will be the first week in November. And it's usually at Eagle Brook Country Club. We're working on getting there again this year. And it's just a great night to kind of celebrate all of our achievements for the last year, raise some great funds to support our mission. Last year, we raised almost over $20,000
Wow.
for our food specifically, and the whole event actually raised over $100,000.
Yeah.
So it was a huge success,
Yeah,
and we're
yeah.
really so grateful for all the people who were there.
I was gonna say, Nate, you can be jealous because I actually got to go to that this year. It was really cool, and no,
You didn't invite me.
I know. Next time. No, but it was. I just want to say, like, it was so cool, especially because you guys did do such a good job of like getting out the word, like the small amount you can give or the large amount that some people gave, and how it really benefits, and it goes directly back to the families and the people, and it's such a good feeling. I mean, my husband and I went, and it was so much fun. We had such a good time. You guys did an excellent job putting that
thank
whole
you.
event together, and it's amazing. I've been around this organization for 6 years, and I went there and got to meet a whole new crop of people. So it was
Yeah.
very exciting for me to be
Yeah.
like, oh, I don't have to talk about the weather. I can talk about like new things. I get to know new people. So it
Yeah.
was an amazing event.
And shout out to all of the volunteers that help with that. All of our events are event driven or volunteer driven.
Yeah.
And we have such a amazing group of volunteers that give so much. And I'm not an event planner by any means, but I know how much work goes into those events, and they did an amazing job and
Yeah.
continue to do an amazing job every year.
Yeah,
So.
the Fox Valley has something special about their volunteers. I'm not
Oh,
sure
yeah.
what it is, if it's
Absolutely.
the water or I don't know, but it is. They're all passionate. They give so much time, and it's pretty amazing. We're so lucky.
I think it's the promise of the free food sometimes.
Okay.
Really drives people because we have
I
such
agree.
great food around here. So they're like, oh, we get free food from this place? Count me in. Count me in 100 times. So.
It's all about the food.
Oh, it's the food. Food is a big
Circles back.
motivator.
Yes, it is. Motivated by our stomachs.
Yeah, and so, continuing to talk about the events and the programs, can you take us through the summer garden program?
Yeah. So we have a garden program out at Mooseheart, and we actually have a location out on the Fox Road, the old Country Cuisine Cooking School, owned by Penny Newkirk, which is another one of our volunteers who donates her space for us to use. And we partner with Mooseheart and them and have our teens come out in a group of volunteers to grow healthy organic produce for our program. So in the summertime, we do have to take a break from our program because of the fairgrounds and everything they kind of have going on, and we're working on expanding that. And luckily, we got permission for them to expand, except for the week of the fair, which would be
Right.
crazy anyway.
Yes.
But we're working on hopefully being able to expand to that someday. But in the meantime, we cultivate our gardens, and it's a nice break to kind of recharge and be out in the fields and be able to teach the teens who are in our program this is what goes into growing your own produce and how you can take this and really have kind of a farm to table experience.
Yeah.
So it kind of pulls in the environmental sustainability, the health of the soil, the health of the produce, how not using fertilizers can actually produce better and more healthy produce and give you that opportunity to say that you grew something and then you picked that thing and then you were able to chop it and put it into a meal. And it's really so satisfying. And one of our teens who was there this summer came up to me the other day and he's like, I think this is the coolest thing to see it full circle, to say that I grew that pepper and now I'm chopping that pepper up to give to a family in need. He just had such a bright smile on his face. It was so great to see that.
Yeah,
I think that not only the teens, but as an adult, it's so satisfying and such an amazing thing that as part of our culture we almost skip over nowadays because we're just used to going to the grocery store. But to see like you can grow this, you can do this, you can it's sustainable is amazing.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. I mean, I had a class in college where we did something similar to that, where we got to go to a farm for a day and just we didn't help grow the crops, but just kind of help pick them out of the ground and then later turn them into a meal. And it's quite the experience. So just getting to see that whole process and being able to, and then adding that on for you guys, being able to give that to a family in need is icing on the cake.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so we talked a little bit about where some of the food comes from with the garden program, but where does the other food come from, like if it's winter like this?
Yeah, so we have some great community partners that help provide the food. One of them being Blue Goose.
Shout out to Blue Goose, downtown St.
Blue
Charles.
Goose. So they actually deliver about 60 or 70% of our produce on Monday mornings, which has been a godsend. I mean, if you think about putting out 600 meals of fresh produce, we buy that every week and it's delivered every Monday morning, which is so great to have that luxury.
Yeah.
And then we also have a team of volunteers that go out and buy other produce from local grocers, so Trader Joe's, Fresh Time, Costco, and we get some delivered. We have partnerships with Frontier Co-op. We have a very large chicken donation that comes through every year of an amazing donor, about to donate 1,200 pounds of chicken to us, which
Holy
is
cow.
going to sustain us for
chickens,
a very
they're
long
not
time.
Cows.
Boom.
I got dad jokes all day.
But yeah, and it's so great to be able to say that the local produce and the local stores are providing this to our local organization to serve our local community.
Right.
So yeah, Blue Goose has done some amazing work for us and really alleviates that stress of where are we going to get this food, how are we going to get it, and if we have to go pick it up somewhere, how am I going to carry 100 cans of something or 100 pounds of onions, and having them be able to provide it for us is really great and such a blessing.
So big shout out to the Blue Goose.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you guys.
Big
Yeah.
And the thing is too is that all of the organic produce that we get is such good quality, and that's the best part. We look for the best quality produce for the best price, and that's where we can get majority of it from. And obviously they can't do everything, but we're able to use them for majority of what we do, and then supplement small things here and there that can really help our program.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
it's pretty amazing that the chefs are able to see what comes in and kind of pivot and be like, all right, we're making this.
Yeah.
So are there any other common misconceptions that people have maybe when they first come in about where the food comes from or how everything's prepped or is it just pretty straightforward?
There's a lot of misconceptions.
Yeah.
I think as you may know, when you walk into that kitchen, you really don't know what you're getting yourself into until
I think
you're
I walked
there.
in and I was like, hello? Is Zach here?
Yeah, I mean, it is just a kitchen, so we don't have, a welcome desk, and we're kind of tucked away in the corner for our offices and stuff. We try to use as much as we can for the program and the space.
Yes.
But one of the biggest misconceptions is that all of our food is donated. I think a lot of people think that we kind of operate like the food banks in a sense, and that we get a lot of donations of food, but unfortunately that's not the case because we do want to serve the highest quality.
Yeah.
And, we've partnered with local farmers and they say, hey, we have all this surplus, but it's because we order on a weekly basis and we fluctuate that. We're not putting out the same meal every week. They're different every week. We can't take a whole large donation of sweet potatoes. We can take some, which helps.
Right.
But we also need to know that 2 weeks in advance so that, our culinary team can prepare and plan the meals, and it's a very efficient kitchen.
Yeah.
So we do purchase that, and which is our largest cost throughout the year, besides our staff times. So our largest program cost comes from that. And I think one of the misconceptions is everyone hears how much we put out, but they don't see the man hours that go into it and how smooth of a process it is that our team puts on, and how amazing our volunteers are that come in and say, okay, what are we doing? And our executive chef Molly will be like, all right, this is your recipe. They go, cool. What size do you want this? How do you want this? How do you want this? And then they go back and they just go through it. You know, they're chopping things up, and I might be having a meeting with Molly, and they're like, oh, sorry, is this thin enough? You know, is this the right mince, or do you want it thinner? And it's just crazy to see how they're so self-efficient and want to put it in, and they come week over week over week, you know. And our volunteers have built some amazing friendships, but have been there. A lot of them have been there since the beginning.
Okay.
And they just love what they do, and it's amazing to see. And we have over probably 200 active volunteers each week, including teenagers and then our board and everything else. And it's amazing to see this group of amazing volunteers continue to come back. But it's a lot of work.
Right.
You know, it is a lot to see them.
Like, my brain hurts thinking about how much, like, I think I said this already, but like how Chef Molly has to like pivot, right? And like be creative and like come up with, okay, this shipment came in, and what am I going to, like, you just brought up the sweet potato. I'm like, we're having sweet potato souffle for the next like 7 weeks. But
And that's like the thing. So our assistant chef Cindy, you know, does a lot of our procurement and partners with Molly to put these meals together. But, you know, we're getting this very large chicken donation, and it's, okay, well, I guess we're cooking a lot more chicken. And we do give one chicken entree every week, or poultry entree. So we're like, all right, we're going to sub some of those turkey entrees and try to work through this chicken and see what we can do and pivot those different things. And, you know, sometimes we make too much, and it's like, oh, where did all this rice come from? And like, oh, well, that was supposed to be here, you know, pivoting that way and adjusting. And it's always a balance, because it's a teaching kitchen. At the other side, you know, we're teaching teens how to cook, and they're not professional chefs. So it's also having that balance of, this is the way you cut things, this is the portion size, this is how this goes. And if we don't have some, you know, we always make a little extra so we can try and, you know, make sure all of our clients are getting what they deserve and what they need to really heal. And this is, you know, it sounds like such a science going to it, but at the end of it, you're like, oh, but all these meals are going to families in need. And it's just such a great service, and we want to make sure we're doing our best and our due diligence to make sure they're getting everything they need in their time.
Right, absolutely. No, completely agree with that. But, and then talking about continuing about on the, like some dishes or recipes that you guys use, you know, what is kind of your favorite that you guys get to make there?
Oh, good question. There's so many. They're so good. I get to try a lot of them, which is lucky. I get to walk around, and I'm like, oh, I'll take a little sample of that.
Kind of like that scene in Ratatouille.
When I was
where he's
there,
like walking in
where he's like taking all of them.
When I was in there, I was like in trying to talk to Zach, have like a real conversation, but I was like so distracted by like all the amazing smells that were coming. There was like a berry cobbler that was there. I'm still thinking about.
Yeah, that one's really good. That's our berry crisp, which is fantastic. But I think my favorite is, it's a quinoa grape kale salad.
Ooh,
and it's such a great summer salad, but it's such an easy thing to snack on. And I make it at home all the time, and it's just really light dressing, and it's really good, and it's just kind of packed, and it's got that nice sweet kick with, you know, the grapes and then the kale and the nice crunch, and it's just like everything. And it's just, anytime I see that, I'm like, ooh. I'm like, Molly, how much did you scale that up a little bit so I can take some home?
Taste test.
I just need to taste a little bit of it.
Quality control.
No, I make it at home all the time, and it's just so good. And it's, I mean, all of our meals are good. That's the hard part, is they're so good. Some of the soups that we've had, like, I've never had a chickpea soup before I worked here, and it's the best soup I've ever had. It's so good, and it's just everything I try, I'm just blown away by how these teens and adults and volunteers can create these amazing, delicious meals. And I think going back to the misconceptions is that it's really not that hard to make these. And I think that's part of our program, is really educating people that, yeah, cooking is a skill, but, you know, you can learn that pretty easy and start cooking these at home. And a lot of our teens are like, I made this for my family and they loved it. I made the stuffed peppers and it's so good. You know, and how all of that feedback of, you know, taking them home and having our clients hear their feedback about how they've never had Moroccan spices or turmeric or any of those. And they're like, it's so good. I've never even heard of this. And it's so great. So really expanding those tastes to get to the community and saying, hey, like, it's really not that hard to make these things. You can make them a little simpler, and these are why you should have these in your day-to-day diet.
Yeah. No, that's amazing. And when you talk about some of the recipes that you guys use, you know, where have like some of the recipes come from? Like, do they come from just like knowledge that the cooks have, or is it like do they do their research and find like new recipes
Yeah.
out there that pop up all the time, or?
Yeah, a little bit of both. Obviously I mentioned the series project. So we have affiliates actually international now. We have
Okay.
8 across the United States and 1 in Denmark,
Mm-hmm.
which is awesome. They're
Yes.
so cool. They actually all came this past November for a conference at the Hotel Baker for us.
Oh.
So we got to
That's
show them
super
our
cool.
kitchen, got to show them downtown, we went to Cava Diem, got to show them the local restaurants. So it was really cool to have them, be in the Midwest. And that was actually one of the chefs from Denmark, our first time in the United States.
Oh,
Nice.
So
wow.
our first experience was St. Charles,
An
which was really
STC,
cool,
yeah.
and she loved it. And so I bring that up because we get a lot of our recipes from them. We have kind of a brain trust that we say, hey, we tried this, it works really well. We tried this, it works really well. Obviously, Midwest restaurants and taste palates are different than California or Connecticut or
Right.
Denmark, so we kind of can adapt them.
A lot more corn.
Yeah, more corn. But other recipes that we come from, the series project, we've partnered with Rebecca Katz, who is a
Yeah.
culinary chef who has partnered really well with series and have adapted some of her recipes. We have so much knowledge on our team in general. Molly, our co-founders, Mary and Susan, we've had registered dietitians that have been on our board and a part of it that, go through our recipes and say, oh, what if we change this? We've had assistant chef Cindy and then on previous assistant chef Marcy, who have all brought their own kind of unique perspective to the recipes and what really heals and what is appetizing for someone who's going through cancer. And that's the hard part too, is that our recipes are very nutritious for the normal individual, someone who's fine in health and can eat every day. But when you're talking about someone who's been diagnosed with cancer, that might not be the case. And sometimes it's how do you just make these recipes so that they look appetizing, so that they feel like they can eat it, and then we can make them so they aren't too spicy, they aren't too bland, and providing them the resources to be able to say, oh, do you have that metallic in your mouth because of your chemo treatment? This is how you can do it. Put some lemon in it, put this way. So that's the educating. So it's kind of the hand in hand that they all kind of take some recipes, and we experiment with recipes a lot of saying, all right, this is something like we just did a sunflower seed ball instead of like we usually do like almond butter because we have a lot of nut allergies. So we're experimenting with that.
Yes.
And it's, okay, is this consistency going to be okay for someone who's going through treatment? Are they going to be able to eat this whole thing? Or do we need to make them smaller? Do we need to make it bigger? So there's a lot that goes into it.
Right.
But it's amazing to see how they collaborate, and the volunteers are like, oh, well, I would have done it this way, or I would have done this way, and we can create these meals on our own that are all based on someone who came up with the original idea, but making it true to our clients and our community too.
Right.
Because there's so much science in like food and how and you have such nutrient dense food that you guys put out, and so I just like my head is sort of spinning like, oh, if you put this herb can maybe help this ailment, and so it's, and then you also have to make it appetizing, so even if something's nutritious doesn't mean it tastes good, and so you guys are you guys are dealing with a lot of different aspects and just making it all come together. It's very impressive.
And you got to make it look good. I mean, you eat with
gotta
your
be
eyes.
pretty.
And we always try to make some good presentations, and we have reusable Snapware containers that we use, which are plastic containers that we reuse, and it's teaching the teens, okay, you don't just throw everything in, try and portion it out, try and lay this on top of this. So when you give it to them, they see that, one, you put the time and the care into it, and you put that love into it, but also they can open it up and say, this looks really good.
Yeah, I want to eat this.
I want to eat this.
Right. And that way, when it's also packaged, like the flavors and everything don't get all jumbled around and everything.
Of course. Yeah,
so.
that too.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And can people donate or
Absolutely.
like food, or and what can they donate or provide?
Yeah. So we are a nonprofit. So,
Yes.
we run off donations. We really don't make any money from selling on this. All these are free of charge for 12 weeks for all the families. And, our overhead is very low, and we pride ourselves on that. I'm actually the only staff person who's not program specific. Everyone else goes directly to the program, chefs, culinary volunteers. And we try to stay as frugal as possible, but of course there's expenses with it. And, every donation is helpful. I always say about one meal is about $10. So about 1 week of meals is about $75 to put out the door. So by about $10, you can provide one meal to a family in need, which could be the only meal that they're really able to eat at that time.
Yeah.
And you can provide that love and support to them. So you can donate, obviously, monetarily. You can do in-kind donations. We try to steer people away from the food donations because of how our ordering process is.
Yeah.
But
As you
know,
just heard, it's intense.
It's pretty intense. But gift cards, gift cards
yeah,
are a
that's
great way
great.
to help us. Blue Goose, Trader Joe's. We grabbed some stuff from Meijer, Costco. That's a great way to do it. Or come out to our events. And one of my big things is, every person is a potential donor. Obviously,
Right.
Everyone has something they can give, but that's not the point. The point is to build our nutrition-focused community, and every person that walks through our door could be someone who can learn, who can spread our mission, and say, I want to eat healthier and be a part of this community.
Mm-hmm.
And, if they come back and donate, that's great. But at the end of the day, we're here to be able to spread our message and say, we just want everyone to be healthy. We want the Fox Valley to be as healthy as possible,
Right.
and we want to partner with people that can help us get there. And that's kind of how this Water Street situation
Yeah.
came up. We just started talking. I started talking to Danny, their executive director, and we were both very passionate about helping each other. And oh, this was a really cool opportunity that came up. And that's one of the beauties of it too, is that we can partner in so many different ways, and it doesn't have to be just give me $10. It can be do you have somebody who could host an event for us? Do you have something that could raise money? Do you have a group that just wants to come in and help prepare?
Yeah.
So it's really not just donations monetarily, but donating your time, connecting us with different people we might not know. I think this kind of came up from a connection that we had. I mean,
Yeah.
Paul, shout out to Blue Goose and
Yeah.
Paul. Paul
Hey,
connected
Paul.
us a while ago.
Are you listening?
And now this is kind of built into a great friendship and
Yeah.
relationship
Yeah.
and partnership. So, it's all those things that kind of can continue to expand our mission, which is important.
So you
Yeah.
you touched a little bit on your volunteers and that people can come and volunteer. How
Mhm.
can they find out more information about that? Your
Yeah,
reaching out for volunteers.
You can reach out to our volunteer coordinator, who's Susan Elward, Susan E. at foxvalleyfoodforhealth.org, or just visit our website. All of our information's on there. It describes our different shifts, our delivery angels, which are our delivery volunteers who serve one client family for the 12 weeks and really build that connection.
Mhm.
If you want to be kind of to the face of the clients, or if your passion is teens, you can be a kitchen mentor, which is you're the one kind of walking and teaching the teens through their recipes, or if you just kind of want to come in and chop stuff and want to help out when you can.
Get some aggression out.
Yeah, just do what you got to do.
Turn on your
And-
rock music and
Yeah.
just
and that's the thing, is there's so many opportunities that people can volunteer, and we don't really like to turn anyone away. I just met with a volunteer who was going to do some graphic design work for us.
I know, that's
Which is
amazing.
awesome.
Nice.
'Cause
Yeah.
we don't have the resources for that, which will be really cool to kind of see what she puts together.
Yeah.
So we're really accepting of any volunteer who wants to come help and spend
That's
their time.
special. Yeah.
Okay.
Very cool.
So
Hey, Zach, can you tell us a little bit about your cookbook?
yeah,
Oh, great.
absolutely. So we just created a cookbook, and
Okay.
I was one of our volunteers. We've been kicking this idea for a long time. We have over 260 recipes in our database that we either actively use or have been recycling and kind of going through, and we'll pull certain things out depending on the season. But one of our volunteers wasn't able to volunteer in the kitchen and said she wanted to do something. Her daughter was actually volunteering in the kitchen, and she wanted to put this cookbook together for us.
Yeah.
So we had a group, built in a couple volunteers that put it together and created a cookbook of over 150 of our recipes that is only $20, and it all goes back to benefiting our program, and you can share kind of our food philosophy with people in need. So it's a great gift for an everyday person who's just said, I want to eat healthy in 2020. Here's a great start. Or, unfortunately, with our service area, it's only 35 minutes from where we are.
Yeah.
We can send those to people who are in need and struggling with cancer and say, hey, we can't provide the meals because of food safety standpoint, but we can give you this cookbook, and this is our gift to you to kind of help you in your healing process.
Where can
Okay.
people
So-
find that?
They can email info@foxvalleyfoodforhealth.org as of right now, and we're working on having them be at some local bookstores and
Oh,
local
awesome. That's really
organizations.
smart.
Nice.
So
Very smart.
keep on the lookout, potentially Blue Goose.
Yay! That's
And some other thing. I know I keep talking about Blue Goose, but they're
Yeah.
awesome.
Aw.
But yeah, and other local bookstores. And if you follow us on Facebook or Instagram, you'll be able to first one to know when those are available.
Oh, and we'll put all that information in the links.
yes.
Okay, awesome. Okay, so we have a scenario for you.
Okay.
We are in an elevator.
Oh boy.
Are you in there?
I-
Okay. You have your 30 seconds to make an elevator pitch to someone who has never volunteered or never heard of you before. What do you say?
Am I
And
actually
deep breath.
timed?
Okay. Ooh,
Yep.
I
Am I
got a
actually
timer.
timed?
Hold
Oh,
on.
boy.
Hold on. Okay. I just got this phone a year ago and I still have not figured it out. So hold, please. Calculate clock. Got it. Stopwatch.
This is a lot of pressure.
Okay.
Oh man, 30 seconds. I
reset.
don't know how long 30
All
seconds
right.
is.
Well, if you go under, I won't. Okay. I was ready. 1, 2, 3, go.
So at Food for Health, we provide healthy organic meals. The family's going through cancer, cooked by teen chefs, and you could have the opportunity to either prepare those meals, chop those meals, teach teens how to cook, deliver those meals, or just help on the back end to really create this community. And I think the best part about our organization is you get hands-on training no matter what role you're in. You know, you get to try the food, you get to chop the food, and actually learn culinary skills on top of volunteering your time. So it's a give-give.
You're kidding me. It's 30 seconds on the nose.
Oh, look at that.
Hey.
All right.
That was
Professional.
impressive.
And I have never done that before.
That was
Keep
very
in mind.
impressive.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh. We've never done that to anyone before. That was
Nope.
the first time Nate's ever decided to put that
Thanks,
in the script.
Nate. Well, I set a pretty high bar. 30 seconds. Oh,
That was like
God.
on the
Oh,
nose. I was like,
man.
he's not going to do it. He's not going to do it. And then he did it. It was very
I'm not going to
impressive.
lie. I was kind of watching it. I
Oh,
was like,
man.
all right, cut
I'm
off.
so not sneaky.
So yeah, as you kind of talked about in the pitch there, you know, you have an emphasis on teaching teens to prepare meals. You know, what's kind of the importance of them learning how to create these meals?
Yeah, I think the coolest thing about our teens is that they're getting skills that they might not have. They're learning passions that they might not know they love. A lot of our teens go off and are part of culinary programs at, ECC or other organizations. Some of them keep coming back and are actually adult mentors or teen mentor chefs, as we
Okay.
like to call them. And they lead the other teens and talk about how they started as a freshman and continue all the way on. You know, a lot of our teens stay from freshman year to senior year,
Right.
which is a good problem to have.
Yeah.
It's a lot of trying to fit in new teens because they just won't leave.
Yeah.
But it's amazing to see these teens grow in their own passions and their own journeys and see how we've impacted their lives. And I think the great thing is they're not only just experiencing culinary skills and learning to cook organics and the nutrition and wellness education we give them, but they're really getting a unique and safe space where they can really express themselves in a different way. And it was one of the affiliates mentioned to me, and we were talking about how the connections, the teen connections, the client connections, the connection in the community. And someone said, well, how do you address getting teens who are at risk? And her response was, well, every teen is at risk. There's so much stress that goes on in a teen's
Yeah.
life and so many outside factors, social media,
Right.
friends, bullying, just the school pressures of finals in college and extracurricular. I mean, I could go on and on and on
Yeah.
to see how all these teens are impacted in different ways. But when they come into our kitchen, they put their cell phones down. They're focused. They know that they're with like-minded teens and like-minded individuals and adults that have come together to produce this service and these meals for people who really need it. And it really is connecting them to a sense of philanthropy, a sense of giving, a sense of being a part of something that's bigger than themselves. And, that has so many positive outcomes that comes with decreased loneliness, decreased depression, if you
Right.
want to get on the scientific side, but it's just this mental health kind of thing. And they're building connections with teens that are from different schools, someone might be at St. Charles North, someone might be from Batavia, and they become really close friends from this, and they look forward to Mondays and Tuesdays afternoons of getting to know them more
Right.
and working on something where they might not have the same judgments as being in school. It's a judge-free zone. You can make mistakes here. It's a safe place. We understand people make mistakes, and it's all right, that happened. How are we going to learn from that? Building those other skills and building that wellness of just being positive and putting out positive energy into the world and not being surrounded by some of the negative stuff that they experience, but get that full outcome of everything besides learning to cook healthy foods. And it's, bringing people together around meals and the love and support that comes from surrounding people by good food and people surrounding good food and connecting with each other.
Yeah.
That's
Oh,
awesome.
absolutely. That's amazing. So,
That's awesome.
yeah, Jenna, if you want to ask your question, we'll wrap things up.
I have my last question.
Oh boy.
Where can people find out more information about Fox Valley Food for Health?
You can follow us on Facebook and Instagram, or you can go to foxvalleyfoodforhealth.org. And one thing, just the last shout out, thank you for having me here. This is
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah, happy to have you.
And,
Thanks for coming.
we're always open to any partnership. Anyone who wants to talk to me or talk to the organization or find their fit, we're open to everyone and on any partnership. And we just
Yeah.
love having people and being connected in this.
And we'll link all that
organization.
information in the podcast
Yeah.
description.
Yes.
Sure.
So, perfect. Well, Zach, you made it through the gauntlet of questions. I know we had you sweating there for a
Oh
little
yeah,
bit, but
timed me and everything.
we got one more big question for you.
Oh,
Are
boy.
you ready?
I'm ready.
All right. If you were king of St. Charles for a day, what would be your first proclamation and why?
Oh, the first proclamation.
And there's no rules.
No rules.
Yeah, you
There's
can
no
do
rules.
whatever you want.
Magic could be involved. Physics doesn't have to be
We had a whole
involved.
bunch of answers last time, or on our staff podcast.
We just did our
so.
staff
Oh,
podcast.
nice. I'd probably make a proclamation to make me king of St. Charles longer than a day.
Oh.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I don't want
devastating.
that at all. I don't want that at all. I would say a proclamation for a day. Probably a day that's like a St. Charles or Fox Valley holiday where nobody has to work, and it's a day of service or a day to do what's good for your own health. Kind of
Yeah.
a forced mental health day,
There
I
we
think.
go.
I love it.
And to be able to say, here's a day of service or a day for you to kind of refocus yourself and recharge, because everyone gets worn down, and it's that day that's mandated. Like you
Yes.
have to take this day for yourself, which
And of course, volunteer at Fox Valley.
of
Food for
course
Health.
Yeah.
we'll still be open, and I'll
Yeah,
still be working.
I'll still be working. My mental health.
But no, and I think that would be an amazing thing, and I would take advantage of that to go volunteer at other organizations and
Yeah.
see places that I've always wanted to go see, or see what they're doing and see the amazing work, because there's so many nonprofits in this area that
Yes.
are just amazing. and
Yeah,
I
we've had a
support.
couple
Very
on the
lucky.
show that are,
Yeah.
each time that they come in really just pulls on the heartstrings, because there's so many people that work so hard for
Mhm.
the people in this community, such as yourself.
Oh, well, thank
And we're
you.
so lucky to have all of them here.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
well, anyway, awesome.
Yay.
Woo! Well, that answers all of our questions for you, Zach. Thank you again for coming on the show today and for doing such an awesome job.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, of
This
course.
is so much fun.
Yay.
So
Cross it
that's
off the bucket
all-
list.
Yes.
You did it.
I did it. I was on a podcast.
So that's all we have. So we'll catch you guys next time on What's Up.
Downtown.